Vidya, over to you first. A quick word on what the Eknath Shinde camp has written in their petition as they reached out to the Supreme Court. They have now asked for some kind of intervention against the disqualification process. Does that mean that Eknath Shinde believes he is currently on shaky grounds?
That does not really mean that. I'm very sure that they are actually, they have consulted all their lawyers. That's the reason why they have actually gone ahead and filed this petition. The petition calls this entire order passed by, by which the Deputy Speaker had issued the notices to the 16 MLAs asking for the entire disqualification proceeding to take place. It has called the entire notices as arbitrary, illegal. All these kind of words have been used, and of course it has asked for setting aside of these notices to be, so that the disqualification process really does not happen. Of course, at this juncture, the legal issues that have entailed in this entire Mumbai, Shivsena saga will certainly, see an outcome what really happens in Supreme Court now, because Supreme Court will determine the proceedings therein, will determine what exactly happens, whether the floor test will happen, whether the
of course it's all now up to the Supreme Court to give some kind of clarity. But we got Anisha Mathur to give us an understanding on this, and as per Anisha, most of the states who reached out to the Supreme Court, rebel camps who reached out to the Supreme Court in the past, the Supreme Court's order has been usually directing them towards the floor test. Sahil Joshi, who is also joining us, a senior executive editor. Sahil, give us some clarity on the petitions that's now been filed by the Eknath Shinde camp, very clearly showing that even Eknath Shinde is not very confident despite having the numbers. Does that give you some sense of fear that the rebel camp holds at this point?
Well, the people will need to understand certain technicalities behind why Eknath Shinde have approached the Supreme Court. Despite him having the enough numbers to split from the party and eventually merge with the BJP. So the split term is no more there, as the lawyer I heard Mr. Kamath was mentioning in 2003, it has become merger. You can split from the party and merge into some other party without attracting the anti-defection law. Now, why Eknath Shinde has moved to the court? Number one, he wants that the disqualification notices served to his MLAs should be withdrawn, because if tomorrow the Deputy Speaker disqualifies certain MLAs, and if the no confidence motion happens inside the assembly, his number will be lesser if he doesn't get the Supreme Court protection in that particular scenario. But more importantly, when he sent the letter signed by 34 MLAs to the Deputy Speaker claiming that Eknath Shinde himself is still the leader of Shivsena Legislative Party, that claim was not accepted by the Deputy Speaker, whereas the Shivsena called its own Legislative Party meeting and elected Ajay Chaudhary, the new person, and sacked Eknath Shinde as the leader of Legislative Party. That claim was accepted. So that means if that claim persists, then that means that the Shivsena Legislative Party control is still with the original Shivsena, and Ajay Chaudhary will be the leader of the party. What will that lead to is that Eknath Shinde then will have to take all these 39 MLAs, come out of Shivsena in the Legislative Party and eventually merge into the BJP, which it looks like that Shinde and the BJP both does not want. What they want is that complete control of the Shivsena Legislative Party in the assembly to Shinde. Shinde sending letter of withdrawing support from the MVA government to the governor, and then this government collapses and the BJP and Shinde group, who will be ideally the Shivsena Legislative Party leader, will form the government. That is what is needed, and that's why this petition has been filed. And for that, what remains in the core is basically the no confidence motion brought in by the Shinde group against the Deputy Speaker, which was rejected by the Deputy Speaker. Even that needs to be finalized by the Supreme Court. So now what happens in the Supreme Court will decide fate of Maharashtra politics. It will decide fate of Shinde, it will decide fate of Uddhav Thackeray and Shiv Sena, and also that of BJP. Will this go as per the wishes of the BJP, or there will be, eventually that government, they will be able to form the government. But the way they want to form the government, will that happen? That will be decided finally by the Supreme Court decision with respect to this petition.